Very good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Ken Rosato. It is Wednesday. It's Wednesday, May 27th, 2026. I thought for a second, wait a minute. No, we haven't been on. It's Wednesday. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Let's bring in meteorologist Mike Favetta with a forecast near you. Mike, I was like, it's Monday though. No. Oh, it's Wednesday.
Mm,
It's going to happen
yeah,
for the
it's
rest of the
it's
week.
it's lovely that the week is flying by. We had so much sunshine yesterday to kind of make up for that terrible forecast over the weekend. So this was a very nice welcome change that brought everybody out. Maybe less traffic on the roads. A couple people extending that holiday weekend into yesterday. Well, good thing you did because the clouds are back today already. Some showers popping up here on the radar at 7 a.m. south of 195. You see these light showers rolling across New Jersey. So it's back to the rain again today with the futurecast showing more of those showers taking over for the rest of this morning, right through the lunch hour, even through central New Jersey, working its way up into northeastern New Jersey by the midday. Then we get a little bit of a cooler breeze coming from the north later on tonight. That's the cold front that pushes across New Jersey, drying us out for the day tomorrow. A mix of clouds and sun for Thursday. We're relatively dry. And then I think Friday starts off nice and dry as well as we warm back up with clear sky in the morning, but then clouds return by the afternoon and another round of rain for your Friday evening, coming across with yet again another cold front. So after so much warmth yesterday, these successive cool shots of air come on down. There's actually a lot of water across the southeast. Now remember, this is where there's an extreme drought happening down through Florida and most of the southeast through Georgia and these states along the Gulf Coast. So it's a strong south wind coming in off of the Gulf that's allowing for quite a bit of rain to come in, but it also means some flash flooding down through the Gulf states through Texas and points west. Beyond that, it's also soggy out in California with this pretty stubborn low sitting over the Central Valley, allowing for all of this Pacific moisture to come on in off of the ocean, also allowing for 20 to 25-degree cooler weather from San Francisco right down through LA. So all things considered, even though our weather across New Jersey was pretty terrible over the Memorial Day holiday, and we had some beautiful weather yesterday, it could be worse, like places in other parts of the country. We'll detail it more coming up and let you know how the rest of the week's forecast looks in just a few minutes, Ken.
All right, Mike, very good, sir. And checking other things going on right now as we have 63 degrees in northern New Jersey, 65 degrees in Trenton. In terms of traffic, we have a crash on the Pulaski Skyway northbound by Broadway in Jersey City. Right lane is closed. There's a disabled tractor trailer. Pam has his camera. This is on the New Jersey Turnpike Eastern Spur, northbound, just north of interchange 15E, which is 1 and 9 in Newark. You can see kind of the slowdown in the distance. That's about it. That's all that it's causing. All lanes are open, so it's just pulled off on the side. Over to Route 33, there's a utility pulled down both directions west of Route 35 and Neptune. Down the shore, right lane is closed. And that's about it in terms of local accidents. In terms of your Hudson River crossings, Lincoln and Holland are both only reporting 20 to 25 right now. The GWB upper and lower levels, let's take a look and see if we could see anything bad. Upper level is going to be on the right. Lower level is going to be on the left. There we are. And you could see the upper level, definitely your choice. Wow, that's moving pretty well. The lower level is stopped. We've got to figure out why that's the case because it doesn't say anything here. But yeah, choose the upper level if you're going over the GWB. Over to LA we go. Right now we have let's see, the only thing we really have here, we have one collision, and that is at the 710 at West Anaheim Street off ramp in South LA. That's the only thing we have in Los Angeles. That's a good thing. It is 4 minutes past the hour. Yet another President Trump-backed candidate has defeated an incumbent in the primary. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton trounced incumbent Senator John Cornyn with 63% of the vote in the Senate GOP runoff yesterday, cementing the influence of the Trump wing of the party in Texas. Paxton was given a massive boost by a last-minute endorsement from President Trump in the final days of the race. Cornyn and Paxton were running basically neck and neck. In fact, Cornyn was just a little ahead. Then when Trump came in and endorsed Paxton, basically as a slap in the face to Cornyn, because Cornyn voted against Trump on a number of major votes. He turned his back on the president. Well, People who've turned their back on the president now in the last year, they're learning the hard way. You do that, you lose your political career. So the defeat of Cornyn, a towering figure in Texas politics and four-term senator, that is a major MAGA coup. That means the president is like 101 for 101 in endorsements. Like anyone he endorses, it's the golden finger. I'm hearing gold finger, da da da. I don't know why I'm hearing Bond music in my head, but that's basically what's happening when President Trump anoints somebody, they get the nomination. The question is, will the person be able to win in the general election? Because remember, Democrats are going to come out in force against him and the independents. This is what it's going to come down to in November. Will the independents stay to the right or stay to the left? They're going to make the decision. As for the Republicans, they seem solidly behind Trump. So now Cornyn is out. So Paxton will face Liberal Democrat James Tallarico in the November general election. So we'll see what happens. By the way, another Trump-hating lawmaker in Texas lost his primary runoff yesterday by a lot. Longtime Democrat Congressman Al Green lost his House primary runoff race against fellow Congressman Christian Menifee. Remember, they redistricted Texas. So Green and Menifee had their districts combined, and it came down to who was going to win. Now, Green has been in Congress for like decades. But remember, he was the guy who held up, you could see there, held up his cane. He would shout and curse at President Trump during State of the Union addresses. Even other Democrats, rather, were telling him, dude, chill. He was threatened with being hauled off and arrested during a couple of the gatherings. He is now out of office. Well, when he finishes this year, he's done. So it's like you go against Trump, you better have a force field because you're going to lose. And when you lose everything. You lose your whole political career. Something to learn there, I guess. It is 7 minutes past the hour. A panel of 3 federal judges blocked Alabama's Republican congressional map, calling it racially discriminatory. The ruling prevents the map from being used in upcoming 2026 elections. The judges said the lawmakers intentionally weakened Black voters' political representation. The disputed map would remove one majority Black congressional district. Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall promised an immediate Supreme Court appeal. Now, the decision will likely be overturned by the Supreme Court because they just had the 2026 Calais decision that says that a state may not have a congressional district that is solely created on the basis of race. And that one Alabama district was very publicly and intentionally created for race in 1992. It was for the sole purpose of electing a Black candidate to Congress, which is exactly what the Supreme Court decided was not constitutional. So why did a 3-judge panel say, oh, you can't do this? I mean, literally, the 3-judge panel is saying exactly what the Supreme Court just said you can't do. You can't just use race alone to determine your congressional seats. You could have that as one of many factors, but you can't have it as the only factor. And this district court just said, you're eliminating this Black district. If that's the factor, then it's going to be overturned in the Supreme Court. So it's like they're just throwing a pebble on the road to trip people up, to slow things down. Supreme Court's going to have its hands full. Pope Leo XIV warned artificial intelligence is fueling violence and global conflict. His first encyclical called for slower AI development and stronger regulations. Leo says AI should never remain controlled by only powerful corporations. But Leo, sorry, your popishness, and listen, I was a Catholic priest, your popishness, it's not only controlled by major corporations. This is why Leo should just shut up and stay out of politics. No offense, Leo, shut up. Anybody is free to develop AI. You can, I can. You want to sit back and develop it, you can. So, but right away, Leo is a communist. We all know it. And right away, he goes right for the jugular and says, only powerful corporations are controlling AI. Leo, it's not only powerful corporations. Little guys in Indonesia are creating AI. So AI is open to anybody who wants to take the time to learn how to create it. It's not just major corporations. So the Pope supported technology, but demanded stronger ethical protections and oversight. Leo urged governments and religious leaders to guide AI responsibly. Again, you know what? Stated doctrine. Stick with your doctrine. That's what you're supposed to do. We didn't hear from Benedict about this. We didn't hear from anyone else. Leo, stick to your stuff. Stay in your lane. 10 minutes past the hour, thousands remain evacuated near a Southern California aerospace chemical facility. Officials say the immediate danger of a major explosion has eased because a crack formed in the tank that contains highly flammable methyl methacrylate. The good news is that crack formed, that relieved most of the pressure, but still there is a slight chance of an explosion, and the chemicals are now in the air. They can cause serious breathing, skin, and neurological problems. About 16,000 residents still have to stay away from their homes just for safety. Fire officials warn the situation remains dangerous despite improving conditions. Aid groups warn the Ebola outbreak could become history's deadliest outbreak. More than 900 suspected cases and 223 deaths were reported. The outbreak is spreading through Congo, Uganda, and major transportation hubs. Health fear weak healthcare systems cannot contain the virus quickly. No approved vaccines exist for the rare Bundibugyo Ebola strain. The World Health Organization warned conditions could worsen before they get better. Mexican authorities captured a nephew of cartel leader Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. The suspect was arrested during an operation in northern Sonora state. That's close to the U.S. border. Officials also seized cocaine, firearms, and grenades during separate raids. El Chapo currently serves a life sentence in a Colorado prison. The Sinaloa cartel continues fighting internal battles for leadership. Mexican officials said operations target major criminal organizations and trafficking networks. Scientists have discovered a tiny blue octopus. There he is. He looks yummy. Near the Galapagos Islands underwater. The newly identified species lives nearly 5,900 feet below the surface. He's like, dude, just leave me alone. I like it down here. Researchers named the octopus Microelodon galapagensis after detailed scientific analysis. How do you come up with a name like that? After what detailed analysis? That's my question. Scientists use CT scans instead of dissecting the only specimen discovered. Why, that was very white of you. The octopus features rare blue coloring and unusually short arms, but to his mother, it's not unusually short. Researchers say that deep ocean and many undiscovered octopus species around the world. I don't know. If you've never had grilled octopus, you haven't lived. That's all I'll say. Pam is going, ew, right now in my ear. It's coming up on 13 minutes past the hour. When we return, Rutgers University is honoring extraordinary graduates with the induction into the Hall of Distinguished Alumni. We'll speak with one of them, a veterinarian whose work helped shape programs throughout the university. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. We're back in 2 minutes. Mornings with Ken Rosato for your Wednesday live in New Jersey and New York. And now we welcome our friends in Los Angeles at 15 minutes past the hour. We'll take your calls at 888-658, excuse me, 0234. Couldn't see our own number. 888-658-0234. How are you liking the weather this morning so far? Well, meteorologist Mike Favetta will give the detailed forecast near you. Mike, for the Northeast, we're talking maybe some clouds today, but I was looking at your long range. It's
Yeah.
like San Diego weather for the next week.
It looks a little deceiving because we get these cool shots of air. So yes, you look at your weather app even and you see, oh, it's going to be sunny, but there's these chances of rain each afternoon with
Oh,
cold fronts and these successive cool downs that kind of give us a little bit of a cooler trend over the next several days. So we had some gorgeous San Diego weather yesterday. However, today could see a few of those rains come in, and even for the next few days, the opportunities of showers are there. Look at what happens for tomorrow. Another gorgeous day. There's our San Diego forecast. But then Friday, we start off with some clouds, bring back the rain by the afternoon into the evening. Saturday, also nice and dry. And then another spoke of energy comes around, this pinwheeling low off to the north and east, giving us clouds on Sunday. So kind of these hit or miss showers. And then by Monday, we're back to the rain with these steady rains that take over all through the afternoon into the evening. Quite a bit of heavy rain lasting in through Tuesday as well. So some days great, other days not so great. Unlike the 3 days of rain we had over the holiday weekend, which, of course, as most people said, it felt like a typical Memorial Day weekend in the Northeast with the cool, cloudy weather. Look at the cool weather out west. Sunny California, not so sunny today. In fact, it's cooler than average where that warm weather is positioned across most of the northern half of the U.S. Then we get into tomorrow, and some of that warm spreads east. It's still chilly out west, but we also tap into cooler than average weather with that little bit of a dip in the jet stream off to the north and east that brings back a little bit of a cooler trend heading into the day tomorrow. So it's front after front that comes through New Jersey, giving us some cooler weather. Yes, we clear out beautifully to start off our Thursday and stay that way for the first half of Friday, but then our next round of wet weather comes in Friday afternoon into Friday evening, giving us some weather that probably lasts into Saturday. Then Saturday morning clears out beautifully, but I think some clouds are on the way for Sunday. So it's, again, kind of this hit or miss. We start off this morning with some rain across central and southern New Jersey. More clouds on the way across the northern part of the state with rain on the way later today, probably arriving by lunchtime across northern New Jersey. We've got more details on how the pollen forecast is doing, Ken, because allergy season got a break over the weekend, but it's not going to last. So, good time to get the car washed since most of the pollen dumping has occurred here in New Jersey.
yeah, you could write Lava May on the back of my car right now. It's black, so it's like you just yellow pollen everywhere. All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. 718 East Coast, 418 West Coast, 63 degrees northern New Jersey, 66 in Trenton, and in California right now, we have 64 degrees Los Angeles, 65 in San Diego. In terms of traffic locally in the New Jersey area, what we're encountering is on the Garden State Parkway northbound, we have a crash. This is north of exit 136 Stiles Street, Cranford. Center lane is blocked there. You can see the slowdown that we have as a result. Also on the Garden State Parkway, there's a crash further southbound, south of exit 40, which is way down by Whitehorse Pike, Galloway Township. The right lane is blocked there. Pulaski Skyway. Just cleared. Never mind. They just updated it as I started announcing it. Let's go to the Jersey Turnpike. We have a crash on the outer roadway northbound, north of 8A in South Brunswick. All lanes remain open, though, and a disabled tractor trailer on the Turnpike Eastern Spur northbound, north of interchange 15E, which is 1 and 9 in Newark. All lanes open there as well. Route 33, utility pole down both directions west of Route 35 and Neptune Township with the right lane closed. And your Hudson River crossings right now. Let's go over to the Holland Tunnel approach, 139 coming from Route 78. Man, does this camera look uglier and uglier every day. They got to either replace the glass or something in front of it. But you can see, look at the bottom of your screen. That's how you're going to judge. Those are the lanes going into the Holland Tunnel. They're stopped. All of them are stopped. And that's the problem. It's now going to cost you 40 minutes into the Holland Tunnel. Lincoln Tunnel approach on 495, much better, only about 20 minutes in. GWB upper and lower levels. We're having issues with the lower level earlier. Let's see what it looks like now. The upper level's on the right. Okay, lower level still heavier than the upper. Either way, it's going to cost you about 35 minutes into Manhattan. It is 20 minutes past the hour. Checking traffic on the West Coast. Traffic collision right now. And this is in Santa Fe Springs at the 105 where it meets the 605. Another collision now reported, and that is on the 710 at West Anaheim Street, off ramp in South LA. 20 minutes past, and Rutgers University is honoring 5 extraordinary graduates with induction into the Hall of Distinguished Alumni, recognizing not only professional success, but decades of leadership and service. One of the honorees is Dr. James Doherty, a retired veterinarian whose work has helped shape programs across the university. Congratulations, Dr. Doherty. Good morning to you. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Ken.
Good to have you on. So tell me what you
Thanks.
thought when you found out you were being inducted.
Well, I was actually doing something you shouldn't do. I was driving and stopped to look at my messages, and I saw my email in December, I think, and saw my name in it. And I thought, well, I guess they're starting to look for people to go to the event. So I put it away when the light changed and came home. And I'm like, wait a minute, my name was in that a lot. So I opened it back up and read it, and I was just dumbfounded. I couldn't believe it when I read that it was an invitation for me to join that group of people.
And an
So
elite
just
group it is, in
speechless.
fact. Yeah. Yeah, and rightfully
Yeah,
so, understandably so.
yeah,
Now you speak about growing up in a single parent household and how
right.
education literally formed and transformed your life. So how much of that experience shaped the way that you give back today?
It was monumental in that. It was the whole reason why I started what I was doing. I've told people after finishing college and going to vet school, and then my mother's passing, I had to go back to Deptford, New Jersey, where I grew up, to clean out the house, and found a box of materials in the basement that said Rutgers Jimmy on it. So I opened it up, and it was all of my financial aid, or actually scholarships through college. And I, recalled that I didn't pay anything to go to Rutgers for those 4 years. And I thought, well, I have to start giving it back, and with some interest and inflation, because it had been a number of years. And I started increasing my donations, and eventually got contacted by a very nice development director. He invited me up to campus to see how things had changed, and just take it from there. I just increased my donations, got more involved, and rest is history,
You're
as they
you're
say.
one of the few people who would tend to do that, who would have the generosity, the empathy, and the kindness to do that, to think of how
Thank you.
that university created a career for you. Well, you know what? But it makes sense as a veterinarian. It makes sense because you're already a very caring, empathetic person. I'm really
Thanks.
generalizing here, but I just know every vet I've ever had to deal with has been that way. I've had lovely vets in my life, and you're very caring of species who can't talk to you. So that says a lot about
Thank
you.
you.
Rutgers clearly remaining a huge part of your life.
Right.
So now, would you say that well, where am I going with this? That in essence, your life has been transformed by Rutgers, but also you've given back so much. The Scarlet Promise Initiative, it's raised millions of dollars for students. So you really have paid it
Right.
forward.
I hope so. Yeah. When we started thinking about financial aid, and when I was probably vice chair of the board of trustees at the time, there was a group that formed a philanthropy ad hoc committee, if you will, in our trustees. And they did some research, and we saw what the student aid needs were, and actually decided to start creating these Scarlet Promise grants. And then when President Holloway came, it took off. He was great at soliciting donations, and it grew from our original goal, which was between $1 and $3 million in 2018, 2019, somewhere in there, to I think I found right before we had the awards dinner, I think it was up to 111 million.
Whoa, that is enormous. And you
Yeah.
look at today's students, what challenges do you think that they're facing now that maybe previous generations didn't experience? Would it be partly also the enormous tuition? Because tuition, I mean, and we're
Yeah.
probably close to contemporaries. I just use a lot of hair dye, honestly. Um, I remember when I went to NYU, and back then it was ridiculously expensive. Today, I don't know how, without taking three mortgages, how anyone could afford that. So when you look at the challenges students have today, what do you think? Is money one of them in terms of paying for tuition?
I think it's a major one. I mean, I'm sure the need was there when I was an undergraduate and the years following it, but now each campus has a food or basic needs pantry that the students really use quite often. We hear all the time about the multiple jobs, the housing problems, you name it. It doesn't seem possible to even finish college these days without a lot of help, and that's where the Scarlet Promise initiative came through. It's trying to bridge that gap between the financial aid that the student might get from the government or from the state, and then Rutgers helping to bring them up to the point where hopefully they don't have much debt at all.
That would be amazing. Not getting out of
Yeah,
college with
right,
$500,000 around your
right,
neck.
right,
The Hall of Distinguished Alumni class is filled this time with people from very different backgrounds and careers. So, what does it mean to
right.
be recognized along with this very diverse group?
It again, it makes you speechless. Coincidentally, I know two of the other recipients, which was purely by luck. I had no idea that they were being nominated either. But it was great to see, people that I knew and people that I didn't know and hear their background stories. Uh, Everyone, of course, knows Eric LeGrand and knows his story, and it was a privilege to get to meet him and hear his story.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But you know what? Your story is pretty darn impressive too,
Thank
Doctor.
you.
And
Thank you.
all the people who, I mean, even hearing things like, I didn't realize there wasn't a veterinary school in the state of New Jersey until it's like, how? How did that happen?
Right.
Now we have
Right.
a veterinary school in the state of New Jersey. We're coming a
Right.
long way because I think all too
Mm.
often, for too many years, I was born in southern New York State, and I think New Jersey has been viewed by so many people as the bedroom of Philly and New York City. Not in New
Mhm.
Jersey. Did I say New York? I meant to say New Jersey has
Yeah.
been viewed that way. And New Jersey is now sort of standing on its own as its own very proud state, and it should. And that's primarily because of great folks like you and what you've done, because Rutgers is the spine. I always say it's the spine,
Yeah.
starting at Newark and
Right.
working its way down through the New Brunswick and then
Right.
all the way down to Camden. Rutgers really is the spine. What do you think about legacy, and what do you hope that people will remember most about the impact you made at Rutgers?
I'm not really looking for a legacy or for an impact. I just was trying to find ways that the funds and the benefits from them would go well beyond my lifetime, to try and grow and include more students in the benefits from all these methods. So I didn't really look for a legacy. I didn't look to have my name put on plaques or things like that. I just wanted to make sure that, especially that students who might have grown up in circumstances similar to my own would
Mhm.
not have to struggle and not have to struggle as much and be able to start their career. I often, it's not an insult to Penn, but I often say that if it wasn't for Rutgers paying for my entire trip to undergrad, I never would have been able to go into debt to go to Penn. So
Well, there you have it. I
yeah,
know you mean that as a compliment. There you go.
it is.
Uh,
It's
and and I like to say that every time I talk to a new inductee, you still have that fresh new inductee smell. You smell like leather in a new car. Congratulations, one of the
okay.
newest inductees into the Rutgers University Hall of Distinguished Alumni, Dr. James Doherty, retired veterinarian, always a doctor. Congratulations again. Thank you for coming on this morning. I think it's just
Thank you.
wonderful all you've done and the way you've given back. It's a pleasure
Thank you
meeting
so
you,
much,
sir.
Ken. You too.
You
Thank you.
bet. Thank you. 28 minutes past the hour. When we come back with all the social media overload, a lot of folks are just craving some peace in their lives. We're going to speak with a psychic, medium, and spiritual teacher who says you need to know how to trust yourself. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. We're back in 2 minutes. All right, good morning. 31 minutes past the hour, Wednesday, May 27th, 2026. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, live on the East Coast and the West. Now, meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you. Good morning to you, Michael.
Morning, Kenneth. How you doing today? Nice
You
off a
like
nice
the name?
holiday weekend, right? Fresh.
I love how
What?
we give ourselves our first full name. Like it's like we're in trouble. We're being called to
No, it's
mom.
Michael
Michael,
Anthony
Kenneth.
Favetta means I'm in big trouble. When you use that middle name, forget about it. Forget about it. Starting to teach
my
Nino
middle
that.
name is my middle name
Go
is
ahead, I don't know.
Craig. It's
Okay.
Craig. It's very Italian, Kenneth Craig Rosato. I don't know what we were thinking. We're like, we got off the boat. Now let's go as far to like waspy New England as we can. Kenneth Craig. Meanwhile, my
You belong in
grandmother's
those
like,
Irish
Kenneth,
bars.
get downstairs.
That gets you a free Guinness on St. Patrick's Day, right? When you say Kenneth Craig is your name, you present it, done. Done. You're set.
Exactly. Done. Anyway,
Yeah.
I bow to
Well,
you, sir.
it's great weather to maybe do some dining al fresco by tomorrow. Today, not so much because we have a little bit of cloud cover rolling in across New Jersey right now with some rain that's on the way. You see it there off to our south and west. All of this rain really needed across the southeast U.S., down through Florida, Georgia, South Carolina. Bad drought there. But here in New Jersey, we had quite a bit of rain, more than 3 inches when you total it up over the last few weeks. And yet there's more on the way later on today, so be prepared for some showers. Out west, if you know anybody out there, there is no sunshine in California for the next few days as this stubborn low is sitting and spinning, allowing for this wind off of the cold Pacific to allow for steady showers to return down across the west coast. Speaking of pollen, by the way, the allergy season, while still pretty prevalent, we get a little bit of a break thanks to all of those showers. We'll start to see the levels pop back up, I think, to high into tomorrow, but at least for today, with the rain back down to the trees, weeds, and grasses at the moderate level. All right, back to the weather, showing with this stubborn low that's kind of sitting and spinning out west, delivering quite a bit of rain, even toward places down in Southern California. Have to wait until next week, well, really into Saturday and Sunday, to see that sunshine return. But until then, plan on the very wet, cloudy, and cool weather there, as even a lot of those showers that are beginning to appear on the map last for the next several days. So we keep an eye to the showers today across New Jersey, more clouds by the weekend. We'll give you the timeline of that forecast and the longer range, Ken, coming up in the next few minutes.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. At 34 minutes past the hour now, we have 64 degrees northern New Jersey, 66 in Trenton and California, 57 now, chilly in Los Angeles, 59 in San Diego. We look at our traffic. We have some problems on the Garden State Parkway, a crash. GSP northbound, north of exit 136, which is Stiles Street in Cranford Township. All lanes open to traffic, but we do have some heavy traffic there. We have the shop, Pam? There it is. All right, so that is 136 again by Stiles Street, Cranford. All lanes open, but just very heavy at this hour. We stay on that shot because just about a mile and a half away, there's a disabled on the Garden State northbound, north of exit 138 in Union with a center lane block. So it could very well be that we're getting residual traffic down to this point. That could be because of 138, not even the issue of 136. But nonetheless, just know that for about a 3 mile stretch between the crash and the disabled, that's your Garden State Parkway. So starting at about exit 135 and working your way to about exit 138. That's what you're going to have. We have a crash on the New Jersey Turnpike outer roadway northbound, north of interchange 8A, which is Route 32 South Brunswick, all lanes open. There is another crash on the Garden State way down the shore, though. This is down by exit 40, Whitehorse Pike and Galloway. The right lane is blocked there. Then we have a problem on the New Jersey Turnpike Eastern Spur. There's a disabled tractor trailer by 15E, which is 1 and 9 in Newark. All lanes are open. It's just a brake tap as people go through that area. We have a down utility pole, Route 33, both directions, west of Route 35. Neptune, right lane is blocked. Because of that, your Hudson River crossings, look at Route 139, making your way from Route 78 to the Holland Tunnel. Right now, that's awful camera shot. Sorry about that. But suffice to say, down where it says SE from that point left, you can kind of make a few cars moving in. It's going to cost you 35 to 40 into the Holland Tunnel right now. That's the approach about half a mile before the mouth of the tunnel. The Lincoln Tunnel right now, not so bad, 25 minutes in. GWB is a lot heavier, actually. The upper and lower levels, you'll see on the right side is your upper level, lower level on the left. Upper is slightly better. It's going to cost you 35. It's 40 to 45 now, lower level on the left. In California, We have two collisions that we have to tell you about. One is, let's see, where now. Okay, one is East LA, South Indiana Street at 4th Street. The other is in Santa Fe Springs at the 105, where it meets the 605. It is 36 minutes past the hour. Between nonstop headlines, social media overload, and everyday pressures, a lot of people say they're craving some peace, clarity, and something a little bit more grounding in their lives. Drew Callie is a psychic medium, spiritual teacher, and a live event host. And we say good morning to you, Drew. Good to have you on.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you so much for having me.
I throw in the live event host. It's like he does this. He focuses your life. Oh, by the way, he hosts parties. I know what you mean by live event. By live event host, you mean you go there and you do readings, right? That's by
Yeah, I
live event
do
host.
like open group sessions for, anywhere from 12 people in a home to a couple hundred people in like a small theater or auditorium kind of thing.
I think that's fascinating, and I'm sure a lot of people are jumping, begging for you to do a reading. But what you can't really read them unless spirit comes to that person or to
Yeah,
you
I try
to let
to.
you know.
I didn't know I could do this till I was like 33. So it works different. I thought you had to be like the poltergeist woman. Or like I'm Irish and Italian. I didn't not believe in it, but it was the 9,000,001th thing that would have been come up on my radar. So when I started having these experiences and I was in a group, it just worked for other people. And I do consider these just abilities. They're gifts for other people, but I don't get to sit around and like talk to ghosts or anything like that all day. But in a group setting, it's like it's a demonstration of evidence of the afterlife, and I stay really focused on that, and I try to get to as many people as I can without sacrificing the quality for the quantity. But the group experiences are it's an amplification of energy. We laugh, we cry. It's just a really beautiful experience. Nothing like I thought it would be, and much more than it's very rewarding.
And Drew, you see religious affiliation and general spirituality growing even among young people right now at a pace. In the 60s and 70s, people got away from religion. I think for the Catholic Church, Vatican II, which was supposed to bring people in, I think it literally eviscerated the church. And for like I was a Catholic priest. For like 2 decades, church attendance every year, all the mainline Protestant denominations, but the groups that are more orthodox, that are more following of a rigid structure, or like our Pam, our director, also, she is very involved in her church. Those groups are growing and growing quickly. What do you think accounts for that?
Well, I think that the advancement of technology is forcing us to have a greater conscious awareness of our role and, who we are. And I do believe that, spirituality, to me, is one of those things that's rooted in our humanness. It's not to escape it or be better than. It's something to strive to be better. And in the seeking is really where you find spirituality. And I've had so many amazing conversations with people, and I'm Irish Italian. You can't get raised any more Catholic. I feel, and I still do certain religious prayers that actually bring me into a meditative space. So I really think it's just the disconnect within the younger generations that it's almost like funneling an option or a perspective that gives greater purpose, greater awareness, and hopefully greater harmony. But I do see that. I do feel that. I have a lot of people, and I'm in recovery. I've been sober a long time. And the universal principles of spirituality are unwavering. So regardless of which religion, to me, it's like if it brings you together, it keeps families together, and that's the most important thing, and it's for the good.
And congratulations on the sobriety. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
And the idea that I think a lot of people, when they hear of a psychic medium or whatnot, they don't understand what happens, and it's different for different mediums, right? Some people see, some people hear, some people get a message. How does the message come forward for you?
So for me, originally, I was seeing and hearing, and then that kind of slowed down and almost stopped, and then I was feeling. Most mediums probably can do all of it, but they focus on what comes easiest or most natural. or whatever they're inclined to. But it's not like a ghost that walks across the room and comes up to me and says, like, say, David. It's much more of like a first and third person experience. It's like, when you meet someone and you like them, or you meet someone and you don't like them, you have that kind of awareness, that accessibility. Just for whatever reason, I had that accessibility pretty quickly. It was probably always there, but the way that it came out. So it's much more of, I'm experiencing them, and I might see certain features about how they looked and things like that. They have blue eyes. But it's definitely an energy language. It doesn't matter what language they spoke. If they spoke Russian or Portuguese, it's an energy language. And they use impressions to kind of get us to focus on things and influence me. So psychic is like tuning into the living, about who you are, how you got to where you are, and what the potentials are going forward. Where mediumship is when a spirit or consciousness steps into my psychic field, influences me, so I say things to you that are recognizable, and things I shouldn't know about your person.
Mhm.
That's really how it kind of works.
I love that. It's fascinating, and we're tight on time here right now. But I always love to say that with language, Star Trek in the 1960s got it best when they interpreted it as, it doesn't matter what words come out of your mouth. It's the chemical transmission of feeling to make you understand the other life form, and that's how they had the. I mean, I'm a geek, but that's how they had the interstellar ability to communicate, was like whatever chemistry that you were trying to convey gets translated into the language of that individual,
That's
and
perfect. I
when
always
you think
share
about it,
that.
that's right.
Yeah, I always share that, like, the content I receive won't be wrong, but the context I understand it in changes depending on who's in front of me.
I love it. Drew, we got to have you on to talk more about this, because I didn't get to hit on how this impacts our emotional stability right now and peace. So please, and I mean like as soon as possible, we need to get you back on to talk on that aspect. Give everybody your website. How do people get in touch with you or read
Yeah, you
more?
can just go to drewcali.com, drewcali.com, and you can find me at Medium Drew Cali on social media. You can book events, you can book readings, you can book private groups, things like that. Everything's easy online, or you can email or call us.
What part of the country are you in? Are you in the New Jersey, New York area?
I grew up in Bergen County, but I live in Orange County, New York now. My office is in Saddle River, New Jersey. But I do a lot of Zoom and a lot of phone sessions, but mainly in like Bergen, the greater New York City area on the Jersey side.
Fantastic. Well, we appreciate you coming on. Please, again, come back again soon. It'd be great to talk more in depth about, again, the peaceful aspect and whatnot, which I should have hit on more, but I'm fascinated by the whole story. So we appreciate Drew Cali, psychic medium, spiritual teacher, live event host. Thank you for coming on.
See you soon. Thank you.
You bet, Drew. Thank you. 44 minutes past the hour. When we come back, potassium bromate. It is an ingredient in everything that we eat that contains flour in the United States. Not other countries, though. We're going to talk about potassium bromate, how many believe that it affects our health, when we come back. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, 46 minutes past the hour, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ken. We've got some sunny days ahead, but also a couple days in there sprinkled with some showers. In fact, we start off this afternoon with a little bit of rain. Some of those showers right now moving across southern New Jersey on their way to the northern part of the state by this afternoon. And the futurecast showing some chances of rain even going into the weekend. You have our next shot coming in for Friday evening and then go into the end of the weekend, likely by Sunday. Have some more rain come in for Monday as system after system tries to scoot on by, giving us a cooler, cloudier pattern. There's Monday into Tuesday with our next round of rain and clouds. So yeah, a little bit of a cloudier pattern coming up, but at least we get some sunshine in there certain days of the week. Tomorrow looking pretty decent, especially through the morning. Then by the afternoon, some passing clouds come through, maybe a quick sprinkle. Friday's looking great. Lots of sunshine to start, staying clear into the afternoon. And then you have those showers come in later that night. And then Saturday starts off again, mostly sunny, some afternoon passing clouds with some more rain by Sunday. Look at what happens for the first week of June with that very warm weather shaping up for the northern half of the U.S. down through the southeast. It's a little bit cooler, and the dry weather looks to persist as well across the northeast with much needed rain down across the south. See where that coincides with the worsening of the drought there across the southeast U.S. So some good news there as the southeast really gets those beneficial rains, Ken.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. Yes, beneficial rains. And by the way, I have a whole theory. I'll talk to you off the air, and you tell me I'm a quack about the amount of rain we're getting. You'll say, Ken, just leave it to
All
us.
right,
We know what we're doing.
can't
And
wait.
you will. I'm a quack. I talked about it on the
Edge of
radio
my seat.
while I was on WOR Friday and Monday, and I talked about it, and I got a lot of people calling me a quack. So there we go. Just figured I would share. All right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. It is 49 minutes past the hour. 66 degrees northern New Jersey, 66 also in Trenton and California right now. 57 Los Angeles, 58 in San Diego. In terms of traffic, we have a few things to tell you about. Let's go to the Garden State Parkway first. We have a crash on the GSP northbound, north of exit 136 Stiles Street, Cranford. All lanes open, but not too far from there. 138. We have a disabled vehicle northbound north of 138. This is Route 509, Union Township. And that has or is causing rather the center lane to be blocked. So that's slowing things down a little bit. And I think that's causing these residual delays more so than the crash, believe it or not. We have problems on the Jersey Turnpike Eastern Spur to tell you about right now, disabled by the exit ramp for interchange 16E, which is what takes you into the Lincoln Tunnel, Route 3. So that right now is causing some delays. We have problems on Route 42. We have there the right lane blocked due to a crash north of exit 10A, which is Black Horse Pike in Gloucester. Route 33 has a utility pole down, both directions impacted west of Route 35 Neptune. The right lane is currently closed. And on the turnpike, another issue right now, outer roadway is impacted north of interchange 8A due to a crash. That's down in South Brunswick. All lanes are open. Your crossings for the Hudson River right now, the Holland Tunnel approach, very heavy. You can kind of make the lanes of traffic moving on the bottom. I mean, good Lord, every day it seems to get worse. They need to send a guy up with a bottle of Windex to clean that camera. But it is very heavy, needless to say, 35 to 40 minutes in on the Holland, 30 minutes right now at the Lincoln and GWB upper and lower levels. Very heavy, but moving heavier on the lower level for whatever reason. Oh, look at that. Literally 10 minutes ago, that was bumper to bumper. So there was an issue on the GWB that clearly cleared up. That is now your best bet. They're still telling us 40 minutes. There's no way that's 40 minutes. That's probably closer to 20. That's good news. All right. In terms of issues on the West Coast, we have a traffic collision now, Baldwin Park at the 210 and Baseline Road off ramp. Another collision in East LA at South Indiana Street and East 4th Street. 51 minutes past the hour, there's a growing conversation around what is in the food that we eat. One ingredient getting a lot of attention is potassium bromate. You'll see it on the side of the bag of flour that you buy in the store, and pizzerias and bakeries have it on the side of their flour. It's a flour additive that has been linked to health concerns, now facing increased scrutiny across the food industry. Peter Falso is a restaurant entrepreneur, owner of Vinny's Pan Pizza. He's here to talk about what these changes mean for businesses and consumers. Good morning to Peter. Good to have you on.
Good morning, Ken. Thanks for making time for me.
You bet. Well, now my family owned a pizzeria for years, and I remember seeing potassium bromate. I'm a cook and baker at home as well. I still am. And I know that in Europe, people, well, first of all, it's banned in the EU, right? You can't use potassium bromate there,
Correct.
but yet here it's
It
still
doesn't even
allowed.
exist.
Right. Now, we always talk about people here have gluten sensitivity, problems digesting flour products, etc. And when they'll say, "Oh, I went to Italy and I had the pasta there and I didn't have a problem."
You
Is it
literally took the
what are we
words right out of
finding?
my mouth.
So what are we finding?
So
What first of all, why do we even have it here? What does it do to flour? Does it help the gluten structure?
well, it does help the gluten structure, and it helps ferment the dough a little bit quicker. It helps for more elasticity. It helps for easier use of dough. It helps to kind of just, make the process a little bit easier and create more consistency, right? And I think that in the United States, we tend to do things a little more streamlined versus in Europe, where they take a little more time and a little more delicate in everything that they do, and they take a little more pride in the actual work that they do. And obviously, are way more health conscious than we unfortunately have become here in the States. And I think we're finally starting to come around and see what these benefits of following their footprints will do for the health of the youth and for the health of people overall. I think that it's only a matter of time before people start to feel the change as it's happening.
And this impacts, isn't there also, I've read even the wheat that we grow in the field, when we harvest it before the germ comes out. I mean, there's a whole different process of the way we treat our wheat here, which a lot
We
of people have
absolutely do
tried to
treat it.
track, right? Yeah,
Yeah, we treat it a little bit backwards. I mean, a lot of the pesticides that we're using here and a lot of the fertilizers and things like that don't aid and help in the actual, process of creating the wheats and the flowers. So I think that really now what's happening is, with this push for everything being natural and people becoming more conscious of gut health and people becoming more conscious of, how food affects the body and how it makes you actually feel. I mean, I'm sure you've been to Italy, I'm sure, and I don't think you
hmm
could argue the fact that you're there all week and you eat whatever you want and you still feel great.
100%.
Someday here, unless, yeah, like, and everybody wants to say, oh, you're walking, you're walking, you're walking. People in Italy don't walk everywhere they go and they look great. So I'm
Yep.
not saying
And
it's for, a visual effect, but if you feel good, you act good, and everything kind of just follows suit with that.
Peter, you sit down to a major meal in Italy that goes on for 2 or 3 hours, as I have my relatives there, and you literally don't get up with indigestion or feeling bloated or feeling sick, and
No.
and yet you try to eat a meal like that here, and you just feel up to here. There is definitely a difference, no question, in how our gut and we think, well, it's been hundreds of years. No, like Italian Americans, we've only been here within the last 100 years. It's only been a few generations that we've been eating, actually, probably one or two since there's been bromate, potassium bromate that we've been consuming. So our bodies are not used to this yet. Just like for
No, they're
African
not even
Americans who were
close.
brought here and forced to eat sugar and processed foods. And so diabetes for African Americans is through the roof. It's not what our culture was used to consuming. So now, are there laws changing now? Is this what's happening with potassium
There's
bromate?
laws of legislation that are pushing for a change, and New York started it. New Jersey, excuse me, is going to be following it. And I kind of I go to I usually I've been going to Italy for, usually almost go every year. And every time I go, I've got my own little allergy issues that I deal with. And I noticed that as a young kid when I was there, it didn't really bother me as much. So I was like, okay, now I've got a child who has some of his own allergies that are a little more extreme. So I
Mhm.
kind of went in a little bit of a rabbit hole and, being in the pizza business and trying to separate myself from the generic forms of pizza. What I do is a thin crust pan pizza. It's not a sourdough or anything along that line, but you still want it to be healthy. And how do you separate yourself? So when this started coming up, I'm like, everything I do in my life is healthy. Why am I not promoting that through my business? We use all organic greens to try to be ahead of that. Why is my flour not like that? And the truth of the matter is, my place is called Vinny's because of my uncle. My uncle had a pizzeria in New Jersey for 35 years. He was this beautiful, salty of the earth guy. And that's just what we grew up knowing what to use. And when I replicated what he did, truthfully, at the time, I just didn't know any better. So as I became more educated and I traveled more and I spent more time in Italy and I got to understand processes and why, their stuff was so much better, that's when I took the time. I'm like, I need to just make this change. So we experimented to get it where we needed to be. And nobody's realized that it's really changed, which is fantastic. But B,
Mhm.
the way that we ferment our dough, you just have to work a little harder. You have to make a little more, you got to work a little bit harder. You got to do it a little bit more ahead of time. You have to be more on top of what you're doing. And like people in Europe that take such pride in what they do, you have to take a little more time to do it. So we're training more specific people to operate and just be conscious of what they're doing with the dough. And I'm happy for it. I know there's a lot of guys right now that are like talking down about it and creating, media streams based off of the one I've called the pizza wars, which is absurd. But the reality of it is I don't have time to get in those arguments. But if I have the opportunity to talk about how I feel you could create a better health structured environment for the youth and educate them as they're growing up to change their habits and see what comes with it. I think it's a great opportunity to do that. I mean, schools now are even discussing, I have a 13-year-old son that he's telling me now, and I drill him about you are what you eat, and you have to be conscious of what you put in your body, and it dictates, how you feel for the day and your mindset and things like that. And sometimes people think you're crazy for saying it, but as you grow into it and you become conscious of it, you know, it works. And, I'm happy that they're starting to do this in schools and educate kids about, what you put in your body and the types of foods and proteins and eating and being health conscious. I think it's really important. There's a lot of things in our country that I think are created by not being as healthy as we could be, right? I think there's dietary issues. I think there's gut health issues, diabetes, obesity, a lot of those things, fall in suit. And I think the more people become conscious of it at a younger age, the less health issues we're going to see here. A lot of the issues that we see here,
100%.
they don't exist in Europe. I go visit family and they
So
look at
true.
us like we're crazy when we tell everybody what the issues are.
Vinny,
Call me
Vinny,
crazy,
I should say
but
I'm calling you Vinny because of the pizzeria.
yeah, it's all right.
Peter,
It's a
uh,
compliment.
first time I went to Italy, I had a cousin who didn't realize I spoke Italian when I first got there. I used to weigh 360 pounds. I'm 180 now.
Oh, wow.
When I went there, she said, and you'll understand this, ma questi americani che grassi. That
Huh.
means these Americans, how fat. And
Yeah.
she did it. She meant it in a sad way, like, what is wrong? Why are they eating like this? Everybody there literally was like this. And,
And it's not because they're walking
it said
across
a
the
lot.
country.
They're
Yeah.
not. You're
So
right. You're absolutely right. Vinny, again, I'm calling Vinny because of the pizzeria. We have to have you back on to talk more.
I
I
would
would love
love
to do
to.
a whole
Anytime
segment on it. Because my family was in the industry for years. I still cook, I do 75% hydration dough, and then I do the thin crust. I love that you do the thin crust. That is awesome. Give everybody a
Yeah, it's
website
part
for
of
more
my history.
information too.
So we're
That's
at
awesome.
it's vinny'spanpizza.com. It's, at Vinny's Pan Pizza is our handle on Instagram. We do a lot of good stuff there. We just opened a location down in Brielle. Our first location is in Milburn. So our second location we just opened up for the summer season is at Brielle. We're right at the Point Pleasant Bridge. So if you guys are coming through, stop by. We'd love to have you. We've got some exciting stuff going on for the shore this summer.
Beautiful. The topic, the addition of potassium bromate in the flour we eat and just about everything we eat that's made with even a little flour. Peter Falso, restaurant entrepreneur, owner of Vinny's Pan Pizza. Good luck with the new location. And thanks for
Thank you
coming
so
on
much. I
today.
appreciate it. Can make sure you come by.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. I will, I promise. And
I
that is on New Jersey for this hour. Thanks for watching on LACA on the West Coast. Stay tuned for your local news there. If you're watching on New Jersey, we'll be back with New Jersey news, opinion, weather, and traffic. Thanks for watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. Back in 2. And a very good morning. It is 8:02, Wednesday, May 27th, 2026. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta comes in now. We got some clouds today. What, highs in the mid 80s? Is there a chance of a little bit of, oh, he's just setting up the camera. There we go. Camera reset. There he is. So we have a little rain, you said, in South Jersey right now.
Little bit of rain, even some lightning detected moments ago.
Oh,
So some of those heavier downpours, yeah, a little bit of a way to start off the second day back to work and school after a pretty wet weekend. Look at the rain that's coming down right now. Most of it passing to the east of the Parkway, but still a few more showers south of Atlantic City. I wanted to point out a few quick sprinkles right now up in northern New Jersey. You see those working through Sussex County, working into western Passaic at the moment, but the heavier rains happening down across the the Parkway. They moved across the turnpike earlier this morning down through Ocean City. Now, since about 6 a.m., some of those heavy downpours and a lightning strike right there by Lacey Township, by exit 63 off the Parkway. So plenty of wet weather across southern New Jersey, but the northern part of the state should stay dry for now, and that will help warm things up quite a bit into this afternoon. We're already at 72 on our way into the low 90s today in northern New Jersey. It's going to be a warm one, especially this afternoon. Temperatures already about 5 to 9 degrees warmer than they were this time yesterday, so a big jump there. And the wind gusts light, but generally out of the south and west, pushing in more of that warmer weather throughout the day. So a few quick sprinkles this morning. Most of the northern New Jersey showers are diminishing, but those heavier rains across southern New Jersey stick around for, I think, a good part of the morning. We could see another round of rain work across central New Jersey this afternoon. There's our 91 up in Newark and Hackensack, even making it to the 80s down the shore, so a little bit of sun before the day is through at the beaches. Another round of wet weather comes in tonight, cooling us off a bit, but tomorrow, I think the sunniest day we'll see. Even for Friday, another beautiful day ahead. Few passing clouds, but it's Friday morning that looks great. The afternoon on Friday could see some clouds return, and with that, a cool down ahead with some of that cold front rain that slides through later Friday night into Saturday morning. Saturday has a mix of sun and clouds, not terrible, but noticeably cooler. We're in the 40s by Sunday morning, so a little bit of a chill returning. Look at that, 40 in Morristown by Sunday morning. So the cooler weather that comes back sticks around at least through the weekend, bringing back a couple afternoons that are warm, like on Friday, 80 and sunny, and then drier and cooler this weekend, Ken.
all right, sir. Thank you very much. 68 degrees, northern New Jersey, 68 also in Trenton. It's 67 down in Cape May. Notice the water temperature's creeping up a little bit. So we used to get really chilly temperatures in Cape May. It's starting to come up a little bit, and it's 69 now in Vineland. In terms of traffic, we have problems on Route 42. We have a crash on Route 42 northbound, north of exit 10A, Route 168, Black Horse Pike in Gloucester. The right lane is closed and the right shoulder as well. And look at what you got there. Just a lot of heavy traffic as people make their way through. As Mike was saying, the southern parts of Jersey getting rain this morning, and that's causing some issues on the roadways. We have a disabled on the New Jersey Turnpike Eastern Spur exit ramp by interchange 16E by the Lincoln Tunnel, North Bergen. All lanes open, but causing a slowdown. Issues on the Garden State Parkway. We have two of them. One is by exit 136 Style Street, Cranford. This is a crash on the Garden State Parkway northbound, just north of exit 136 Style Street, Cranford. All lanes open to traffic, just a little bit of a slowdown there. The other one is further south, exit 44. There's a crash southbound north of exit 44 in Galloway. All lanes open to traffic there. New Jersey Turnpike, we have another issue, and this is a crash further south. Outer roadway northbound north of interchange 8A South Brunswick. All lanes open. Nonetheless, you're going to tap your brakes through there. And then we have a crash now, utility pull down. Utility pull down, Route 33 impacting both directions west of Route 35 in Neptune. Hudson River crossings now. Your approach to the Holland Tunnel, Route 139 coming off of Route 78. You could see some heavy traffic, but it is moving. This is better than it was before. See those lanes in the middle? So now we're only down to 25 minutes. That's a pretty good ride, actually. Lincoln Tunnel is also 20 to 25, and the GWB upper and lower opened up. We don't know what happened. This morning when we started things out, it was heavy, and it's now moving pretty well. So if you want to make your way into the GWB or via the GWB, it's only going to cost you 15 to 20. It is 7 minutes after 8 o'clock. Protests intensified outside Newark's Delaney Hall ICE detention facility this week. Detainees reportedly began a hunger strike over alleged inhumane living conditions. Governor Mikey Sherrill, along with other officials, including Senator Andy Kim, visited the facility and criticized detainee treatment. Protesters clashed with ICE agents who defended the facility using pepper spray and pepper balls. Senator Kim claimed he needed medical treatment after inhaling the irritants during the confrontation. Federal officials deny abusive claims and pointed out that they are only following federal law. Early voting officially began Tuesday across New Jersey for congressional primaries. Voters can cast ballots through May 31st at county polling centers. All 12 House seats and one Senate seat appear on ballots. Senator Cory Booker seeks a third term without Democratic opposition. Several competitive congressional primaries could influence control of Congress. Essex and Hudson counties open the most early voting locations statewide. 8 minutes after 8, a New Jersey Transit bus crashed into a PSC and G truck in Union Tuesday morning yesterday. The accident happening near Morris Avenue and Spruce Street. About 9:15, officials said the bus carried 25 passengers during the collision. 9 people, including the driver, had 9 non-life-threatening injuries. Emergency crews transported victims to nearby hospitals for treatment. Union police continue investigating the cause of that crash. Police say several New Jersey spas secretly operated as I smile because it seems like this is as old as time, as prostitution businesses. Investigators focused on locations in Brick, Jackson, Millstone, and Sayreville. Authorities arrested Kelly Yanka Gonzalez after a months-long undercover investigation. Court documents allege that she laundered more than $75,000 through the businesses. Police executed search warrants at spas, offices, and her Jackson home. Officials say additional arrests could happen as the investigation continues. 809 Nutley student Sammy Aronoff won Essex County's Species on the Edge contest. The Yantakah fifth grader created artwork featuring cerulean warbler. The cerulean warbler, there it is right there. That's a bird. Students researched endangered New Jersey wildlife for the statewide competition. Sammy's project earned recognition for both artwork and written advocacy. Did a nice job. That's a fifth grader's work right there. That's darn good. His artwork will appear in exhibits and the official contest calendar. Yantakah students have now won Essex County 3 straight years. Got some good teachers there. A survey named Route 17 Paramus's most passive-aggressive road in New Jersey. Wow. Drivers reported rude merging, blocked exits, stubborn passing lane behavior. I've seen the use of certain fingers during that my use of Route 17 in my time, just saying. Nassau Street in Princeton ranked second among frustrating New Jersey roads. Bloomfield Ave made the national passive-aggressive driving list too. Many drivers blamed merge lanes and shopping areas for tense encounters. I love this. Whoever came up with this is brilliant. Surveyors say small aggressive behaviors create stress during everyday commutes. Hey, if you want to change that whole attitude, why don't you just stop and let somebody in front of you and smile and wave? They'll smile back and it'll change your whole attitude on the roadway, and it'll impact other people's attitudes too. Just go out of your way and do it once, and your whole day will be better, I promise you. 8:10, New Jerseyans picked Blockbuster. Yes, Blockbuster. Blockbuster Video. Remember that? As the Pam, our director, singing the jingle with me in my ear. This is the brand New Jerseyans most want revived. You could download. Why do you got to go to Blockbuster? You could stream. Many remembered Friday movie rentals as a fun weekly tradition. Walden Books finished second for its cozy mall bookstore atmosphere. Borders ranked third for its relaxing browsing experience in open spaces. Hollywood Video earned nostalgia points for surprise movie discoveries. And Woolworth, remember Woolworth? With the counter, you went up and had a burger with your aunt or your grandma or your mom. Woolworth rounded out the top 5 beloved comeback brands. Find that fascinating. But, I used to live in Hollywood, Florida, right near where Blockbuster Video and Wayne Huizenga, he was the founder. Wayne Huizenga, who later owned the Dolphins, he founded Blockbuster Video. And that was one of his claims to his fortune. He sold it just in time. And the corporation that he sold it to, of course, it folded because everybody went over to streaming. The difference between, say, Netflix and Blockbuster is Netflix started streaming. Netflix used to be a store too. You used to be able to go into and get Netflix movies, but now, because of mail order and what they said, now let's do away with that. You could just stream. And we have Netflix as we know it today. Think about that. And Netflix is going to be building its giant movie studios here in New Jersey, doing so right now. Coming up on 8:13, we have a temp of 65 degrees. When we come back, recognizing and acting on the symptoms of stroke can mean the difference between life and death. We're going to talk about it with an expert in just a moment. Some clouds today. It's raining right now in parts of South Jersey. Highs in the mid 80s. Then we're going to get a stretch of gorgeous, sunny, seasonal spring weather for days, maybe chances of afternoon. Just Mike will have the full garden forecast in just. You're watching Morning with Ken Rosato. We're back in 2. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:15. We'll take calls at 888-658-0234. Some clouds today. Maybe some rain in South Jersey, a little bit of it, in fact, right now, and it's impacting traffic there. Highs today, mid-80s, then a stretch of some nice, sunny spring weather for the next week or so with some chances of showers in the afternoon. Why am I doing the details? We pay you for this. Meteorologist Mike Favetta, but never enough, I should say, with the full Garden State forecast. Good morning, sir.
Well, it's the love and the warmth every morning. That's the cherry on top. That's what makes me keep coming back. Ken? That's it. That's it.
Absolutely.
That sunshine is like a big warm hug, especially this afternoon. Clear sky all across northern New Jersey, but those rains across southern New Jersey dropping visibility down to a mile right now through Atlantic City, just over a mile visibility out on LBI. That improves once these showers are gone. Had a few of those heavier downpours across southern New Jersey, but the rest of the day featuring a mix of clouds and sun on the sunnier side, especially with temperatures warming well into the 80s from Long Branch and right down through Point Pleasant. So a pretty finish to the day, even though there's some clouds around right now with those showers that started earlier this morning across the southern part of the state. Later today, UV index getting up there. We're back at a 5, which is moderate. You can see on the scale, you have to make it back up to 6 or 7 to reach high, which I think we do tomorrow, and especially by Friday as we approach the summer solstice. Now, just about 3 weeks away. So here are the clouds that come in for later on today. You can see the chances of rain a little bit higher going into this evening, especially tonight, with some of these showers working across New Jersey, mostly the southern half of the state. We're back to sunshine tomorrow, mixed in with some clouds. Temperatures cool off a bit thanks to that northwesterly wind, and it's cool on Friday morning. We'll be in the 50s across most of northern New Jersey, starting off the day nice and sunny, warming right back up into the 70s. That's that one day of San Diego-like weather that we get, and then rain comes in later Friday evening, setting the stage for a partly sunny weekend. There'll be some intervals of sun with the clouds, but it'll certainly be cooler by Sunday, especially starting off on Sunday morning in the 40s. By Monday, some more rain comes in, and this is that wet weather that kind of lingers into next week, especially offshore. It backs around for Wednesday, gives us higher chances of rain, but there are still certainly days in there with some breaks of sun. So the weekend weather dry, but more clouds, I think, on the way by later Sunday after hitting a high of 75 degrees, Ken, both days.
All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. 66 degrees up and down New Jersey. Actually, no, I'm wrong. 68 in Trenton, 66 northern New Jersey, 65 right now in Cape May. See, I guessed too soon there. That's what you have in terms of temperature. And in terms of traffic, we got a lot of it. Let's start, if we can, on the Pam, you wanted to start on the Garden State? You tell me. All right, let's do the Turnpike. That's better. We have a disabled vehicle right now, New Jersey Turnpike Eastern for by the exit ramp for interchange 16E. So that exit ramp right there, that is what takes you to Route 3, which gets you to 495 into the Lincoln Tunnel. So we'll show you why things are so backed up here in a moment, because we're going to show you when you continue from that point, the very short stretch of Route 3 into 495. We'll show you why. This is heavy all the way through to the Lincoln Tunnel now. Don't know what's causing that. Maybe everybody decided to go Lincoln today because the Holland is lighter and the GWB is lighter. Everybody seems to be piling into the Lincoln. Don't know why. Okay. So we have other issues to tell you about right now. There is a crash on the Turnpike Outer Roadway northbound north of interchange 8A in South Brunswick. All lanes open there. Nonetheless, check that out. One that seems to be clearing up right now is something we've been telling you about, crash on 42, Route 42 northbound by exit 10A, Black Horse Pike. Pam says it looks like that things are starting to move there, so that's good news. We look at the other Hudson River crossings, or the Hudson River crossings now. Look at 495. This is what leads into the Lincoln Tunnel. Look at those middle lanes and how heavy they are. So apparently, the fact that this is slow and backed up, it's going all the way back about 4 miles to the New Jersey Turnpike exit ramp. So you're going to get a 4-mile stretch off the Turnpike to 495 into Manhattan through the Lincoln Tunnel. All in all, I'm talking about a 45-minute stretch. That's quite a lot. The Holland Tunnel right now, much better. It's only about 20 to 25. We can go over to the GWB upper and lower levels. This is kind of astounding, unless people decided to take the entire week off. That's only about 15 minutes in. It only builds up a little bit as you get to the tolls. So that's pretty darn good. Not bad at all. It is 8:20 right now, and every 40 seconds, somebody in the United States suffers a stroke. And experts say recognizing and responding to the warning signs can mean the difference between life and death. Now, May is Stroke Awareness Month, and new treatments have helped save more lives than ever before. Dr. Jeremy M. Liff is a board-certified neurologist and neurointerventional specialist, and he's here to talk about it. And we say good morning to you, Dr. Liff.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you. Now, I like many people in their families, my mother had a hemorrhagic stroke 11 years ago. She was already in her late 70s at the time. Amazingly, within a year, she healed up, but that isn't always the case. We were lucky in that she happened to be in the hospital for something else when she started getting symptoms. So it was instantaneously dealt with. So now, is that the case? The faster you deal with symptoms of stroke, the better the chance of coming out of it and healing?
No question about it. The mainstay of stroke treatments that we have, they're all predicated on time. And in the case of your family member that was a hemorrhage, most strokes are the result of a blood clot that's blocking blood flow. And the sooner that you can get that blood clot resolved, the better chance you have of recovering.
Amazingly. And so what are the warning signs and the symptoms that people need to be beware of?
Well, there's a mnemonic that you may have heard of called Be Fast,
Mm.
which stands for changes in balance, or eyes, meaning your vision, drooping of one side of the face, difficulty with one arm, um, speech problems, and then the T stands for time, meaning you have to get to medical attention as soon as possible. But I think when it comes to stroke, the key is something sudden onset, something painless, and usually involving one side of your body, and essentially a sudden dysfunction as if it's coming out of the blue for no other reason. And that really is this are the signs and symptoms of stroke.
Yeah. So we talk about heart attacks, but many times, not always, but most of the time, one can feel the symptoms of a heart attack, right? But a stroke is basically a brain attack. Is that correct?
That's right. And the brain itself is not going to be painful if something happens
Mhm.
to it. So it's not pain, it's the result of the dysfunction of the part of the brain that's being damaged. So it's a painless dysfunction of the rest of your body. And that's why it's a little less intuitive for the general public. As you said, a heart attack is a crushing chest pain, but the signs of a stroke are like kind of more indirect, which is why it's important to educate the public because you must get to treatment immediately.
That is the key. You cannot put it off. You shouldn't put it off for your heart either. If you have a symptom, better that you quote unquote waste a few minutes in the ER going to get treatment and be thankful later, right? Than saying, I'm okay. It's just a little indigestion. Get it checked. Who is most at risk, doctor, for stroke right now? Who would you say?
Well, certainly older patients, though what's alarming is that we've done a better job with decreasing the rate of stroke in older patients. In fact, stroke has now gone from the third leading cause of death to the fourth, which doesn't sound great in itself, but it is an improvement. What's scary is that strokes in young patients are going up. I think probably due to a combination of factors, including vaping and drug use. But
Mhm.
still, those patients that have heart disease, those patients who are older, those patients who have blood pressure that's out of control, and importantly, diabetes or insulin resistance, which is not being controlled, those are the highest risks for stroke.
I was a walking potential stroke victim for years. I used to weigh 360 pounds, had high blood pressure, had slightly out of control cholesterol, et cetera, et cetera. Thank God I listened to my doctors. I'm 180 pounds, blood pressure's 110 over 68, on a statin drug, have perfect levels now, literally, but I get checked regularly. And because I have a fib, I'm on a blood thinner. So I'm on Eliquis. But you have to manage your health. You have to people go to their doctors and they go, "Uh-huh," and they go home and they say, "Let's go for pizza." Listen to your doctors. They're not just there talking because they enjoy hearing their voices, correct?
Yeah, and that's exactly what I tell my patients. The scary part is that a lot of the risk factors for stroke in themselves don't cause discomfort. So if somebody
Mhm.
has high blood pressure, they won't necessarily notice anything. If they have high cholesterol, if their diabetes is out of control, those things in themselves don't cause immediate discomfort. So patients may brush it off, whatever, as you said. The problem is that it takes that 1 second where something goes wrong, and the rest of your life is changed for the worse for neurological dysfunction. So it's so important to try to get ahead of it in terms of preventing it before it happens.
Yeah, and how much did smoking impact stroke years ago? And now that we're seeing now, I know we have issues with vaping, but I remember when I was a kid, I'm 59. When I was a kid, smoking was everywhere, and it's just such a relief and a pleasure to see that it is down so much. But as you mentioned, there's still vaping. Pardon me, doctor. Excuse me. Um, how has that impacted the fact that we have so much less cigarette smoking? How has that impacted, stroke?
I think it's a major, major impact. As I stated before, we've done actually made headway in our society in lowering the risk of stroke in patients, let's say 50 or above. I don't think there's any question that it's a matter of one of the big factors is not as many people smoke. I have so many patients that come into my office who tell me that they quit 25 years ago, 30 years ago. They all remember the exact brand that they smoked. So they were very loyal to it, and they all made that decision to stop smoking. I think that's probably one of, if not the biggest health advancements that we've made in our society, amongst a lot of other great things. But the idea that everyone knows that smoking is harmful for you is a major, major advancement.
Yeah, my dad, 95 and a half, but he quit smoking 45 years ago as well. Tossed them right out. His whole carton of cigarettes. He used to smoke a pack and a half a day of Cools. I remember because I smelled the stink in the house all the time. They're gone. And 95 and a half. Yeah. And by the way, his lungs totally cleared up. I was amazed. His lungs are fine. He has no COPD, nothing at 95 and a half. With about a minute left, doctor, what would you recommend right now for people, even younger people, who want to make sure they start changing their lives for the better? Is it focus on blood pressure, sleep, stress, a combination of that and diet? What would you say?
It's actually a combination of those things. There was actually just a study that was released. It was over 50,000 patients over 10 years, where if you made incremental changes in your sleep to get a little bit better sleep, your diet got a little bit better and was more toward the Mediterranean diet, and you exercised a little bit more, you actually could see statistically significant changes and decrease in risk of not just stroke, but heart attacks. So I would
Mhm.
say certainly stop inhaling things into your lungs like vaping or smoking, start exercising, and go to a diet which is more rich in fruits, vegetables, and healthy fats, like in the Mediterranean diet. I think that would be your best bet. And listen to your doctor.
Exactly. There's a reason why you spent all that money and those years in school, and it isn't just to scold; it's to help us be healthy. As even my dad still, he has a little dementia now, but as he loves to say, it's better to be 95 and feel good all the years getting up to that point than to be 85 and be unhealthy and coughing and be and go out the bad way. So all you got to do is take care of yourself, and your body will reward you. Doctor, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you coming on and how important this is. And we just hope somebody will listen to this today. We are talking about how to recognize and quickly treat stroke. Board certified neurologist and interventional specialist, Dr. Jeremy M. Liff. Please come back again, and thank you for coming on this morning.
Thanks, Ken.
You bet. It is now 8:28. When we come back, we hear so much about burnout and the pressure to chase the next goal. But what if success actually starts with something a little different? Joy. We'll talk with the author of a new book that deals with just that. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We're back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. It is Wednesday, May 27th, 2026. We have 69 degrees right now at 8:31. I'm Ken Rosato, and we say that we're going to have some different weather. Let's just say it that way. Meteorologist Mike Favetta is with us right now. And by different weather, I mean after like a week of rain, Mike, you would think that all the
Yes.
reservoirs are overflowing, but they're still not.
No, no, still not. Still have some dry weather from the last few months that is keeping those reservoirs much lower. But now, even though there's some showers this morning running through southern New Jersey, the northern half of the state enjoying the sunshine early on today, and we'll see more sun later on through this afternoon. We had some rain earlier this morning, most of that wet weather predominantly on pause, and we'll see another round of showers this afternoon. But it's that lovely southwesterly breeze helping to pump those highs into the 80s today, even close to the 90s up in northern New Jersey. That wind switches direction, though, especially by Thursday into Friday, bringing back a cooler breeze and cooler mornings, and that'll also bring the pollen back as well, especially with the dry weather that returns for the next few days. So the moderate level today for all pollens from trees, grasses, and weeds. Mold's a little bit lower, but still planning on another round of warm weather today, as our average high should only be 75, but again, low 90s, even up toward Newark. So the clouds that are around this morning kind of delaying the warm up into the afternoon, but we do get some sun later on today, and we'll see some more wet weather as we head later on into next week, because this weekend is looking pretty dry, even though there's some small rain chances heading into the start of the weekend, specifically Friday afternoon into Friday night. And that comes along with this cold front, not this one specifically, but another cold front that comes on by for Thursday morning into Friday that will ultimately sweep on through. There it is, giving us our chances of rain going into Friday night and Saturday morning. Then most of the weekend is pretty dry, but there will be some passing clouds each afternoon, and that will set the trend for warm weather to return for the next several days. Not terribly hot, just seasonably warm. And that's all we can ask for, especially after that very chilly and cold weekend that we had. Looking into next week, even down the shore, temperatures will hold just around average into the low 70s each afternoon and the upper 50s each morning. Again, it looks deceiving because it looks very dry straight through, but there are some chances of small showers each afternoon and especially each night, Ken. So that's, I
Yeah.
think, where you could look at this and go, it looks like a San Diego forecast, but in fact, there are some chances of rain in there just about every other day.
Just for the record, we don't like to call them small showers. We like to call them size compromised showers, Mike. Just
Sized compromise. Got it. Got it. Sunless days.
but it is better than the nonstop. I mean, it's okay to get a little afternoon showers, very Florida-like,
Sure.
but it's better
Yep.
than having nonstop rain all day and night, for gosh
That was
sakes.
that
My
was
God.
terrible. Yeah.
The base of my basil plants that are out on my patio, the ones who really hate you and who are writing like terrible things on paper about
Uh-huh.
you, they're all like brown from being flooded because basil likes water, but not that
Yeah.
much water, and the roots of the
Right.
basil kind of get waterlogged. So, amazingly, my
Hmm.
rosemary plants have survived. I don't know how,
Hmm.
but so, Rosmarino. All right, sir, we'll check back. Much appreciated. It is 66 degrees northern New Jersey, 69 in Trenton, 65 right now, Cape May, and 66 degrees in Vineland. In terms of traffic, we have a crash on 295 right now, northbound by exit 25, which is Route 47, Delsey Drive in Westville. Left lane is currently closed. Route 33, we have a downed utility pole both directions west of Route 35 and Neptune. The right lane of 2 lanes closed there. Hudson River crossings right now, the stretch of 495 into the Lincoln Tunnel. Heavy but moving. It's going to cost you about 35 minutes into the Lincoln. Holland Tunnel right now, Route 139 coming off of Route 78. Also kind of heavy, but it is moving actually better than it usually does, about 25 minutes in. And the GWB upper and lower levels, 8095 approach is beautiful. Wide open, only 15 minutes max into Manhattan by the GWB. That's a very good thing. I'm guessing a lot of people must have taken the week off because of Memorial Day. It is 8:36, and we hear so much about burnout and the pressure to constantly chase the next goal. But what if success actually starts with something a little different, like joy. Bose Akadiri is a corporate trainer, motivational speaker, and the author of the Stay Joyful Method, where she talks about using joy to grow personally and professionally. Excuse me, I called you Bose. It's Bossy. Good morning to you, Bossy.
Good morning, Ken. Good morning. It's so good to be here with you today. Thanks for having
Nice to
me.
have you. Nice to have you on. And your name is spelled like the music company Bose, but it is Bossy. All right, so nice. So
It
you ain't the
most
bossy
certainly
of
is.
me. You ain't the bossy of me. All right. There you go. But it is good to have you on. So let's talk about the book. And in the book, you talk about goal setting being a team sport. So what does that mean, goal setting being a team sport?
Ken, I'm so glad you asked. When I think about goal setting as being a team sport, it's really understanding that together we are stronger and that everyone has different strengths. And so when you're looking at building your Joy Squad, or as some like to call it, your professional board of directors, you need to have different types of people. So there's 5 key types that you need to have in your personal board of directors. You need your cheerleader, you need your contrary, the person that thinks the opposite like you do. You need a coach, you need a mentor, and you need sponsors. And so when you really start to think about goal crushing being a team sport, you think about everything that you do in life. It's not just about you as a single person, it's about a community coming together.
Interesting. I love that. In fact, it's funny because my other half works with somebody who says you have to have a rabbi. So when you're like, if you get hired at a job, make sure there's somebody in the superior role who looks out for you and who can give you advice and give you a heads up. That's fascinating. But you would call it the cheerleader or the as opposed to the
Yeah.
rabbi. So it depends on what part of the country you're in. New York, we call it a rabbi. But a lot of people try to do everything on their own, and that is not the answer, right? So community is really important to success.
Right. And when you think about it, if you're trying to do everything on your own, it's just going to slow you down. And so you really have to stop for a moment and think about who is in your Joy Squad, who's in your personal board of directors, how are they supporting you? But even more importantly, how are you supporting them? Because
Uh,
again, goal crushing is a team sport. So when you look at activating folks and making sure that they're aware of what you're trying to do, you want to be clear. So you not only want to be asking the folks around you, how can you support them, but you want to be clear with them on what your goals are and what your purpose is. And Ken, I can tell you this, I define purpose as the combination of your joy and your skills. Right. So when
mm,
you are going into that new role or you're working across teams, you need to be clear on what those goals are. And you can easily do that by this simple formula: joy, skills, and the overlap between the two.
Makes an awful lot of sense. How do you know, by the way, if somebody is helping you grow versus draining your energy?
Ooh, I love this question, Ken. This is a good one for first thing in the morning. So, are they cheering? Are they cheering for you? To me, that's a simple litmus test to understand. So, think of it this way. If something happens at your job and it's really great for your career, for your team, and you're sharing it with them, pay attention to their reaction. Are they thinking about how can we celebrate this? How can we amplify it and talk to others about it? Are they sitting there quietly and not really having much to say and they're not really interested? Right? You want to have the people that amplify your wins and not the ones that really just pay no attention to them. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be the type of person that amplifies their wins, that cheers on their wins, and makes sure that they get recognition. And so when you think about the difference between the folks that are draining versus the folks that are really contributing and being active members of your professional board of directors, that's a key differentiator to look out for.
Fascinating. I could remember when I was much younger, and I'm like 130 now, but I could remember once
No.
I was literally in my late teens, I guess, probably 18, 19, and I was in my parents'
Mhm.
house and I was on the phone. Back then you had a phone on the wall and you didn't have the cell phones. I was reaching for a cell phone, but it's streaming us right now, so I can't. But I remember having a conversation, I think it was a girlfriend or something, and my father, after I got off the phone, he said to me, during that whole time, all you did was whine about your problems and never once asked her how her day was. And it hit me. I was
Mhm.
like, yeah, it was all about me. That he taught me empathy in that one moment. Just ask, inquire. So that's really important, right? If you want that two-way street, you want somebody to be your supporter, you got to be their supporter too.
Exactly. Mutual beneficial relationships are what it's all about. And you know what? You crack me up when you talked about the phones on the wall because sometimes I miss those days. We were so, I feel like, connected. You're hearing people's voices, you're seeing them in person. And so that's another thing that I think is important when you're in the workplace because you want to be building those connections across departments. So, how can you be doing simple things like walking around in the morning and saying, literally, good morning to everybody? Because you never know. That person might come in, go to their desk, and never really have other interactions. And so you can be not only the bright spot in their day, but an opportunity for you to work together collaboratively in the future because you've already started having dialogue. And so I thank you for bringing up those analog phones that we used to have because sometimes we need to get a little old fashioned and make sure that we're building true, deep human connections.
Amen to that. Please tell us a website for more information and to get your book.
Oh, definitely. Okay, so my company is called Goal and Grind because we're setting big goals and we're grinding them out one step at a time. So you can visit my website at goalandgrind.com and there's plenty of information on the book there. My book is called The Stay Joyful Method. It's right here and it will help you learn to leverage joy as your greatest tool, both professionally and personally.
Well, you certainly exude joy and happiness. Everything from the colors that you're wearing, the smile on your face. You are a wonderful person, corporate trainer, motivational speaker, author of The Stay Joyful Method. Bossy Akadiri, thank you for coming on this morning. You know what? You made me feel better today. I'm serious, just being
Oh.
on because your joy is contagious. I would love for you to come back again, please.
Thank you so much for having me. And look, I'm very appreciative for our new friendship that is going to be mutually beneficial.
Amen to that. I'm with you 100%. Enjoy your day and thank you again.
Thank you so much, Ken. Have a great day.
You too, Bossy. What a nice person. Some people just have that positivity. They walk in a room and they make you feel better. And she made me feel better. I hope she made you feel better too. When we come back, our friends at AARP New Jersey, they make me feel better. They're great folks. And they're bringing us a segment on how to navigate changes in the SNAP and Medicaid programs as we speak with the Commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Human Services, Dr. Stephen Cha. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. We're back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Ken Rosato at 8:46, and we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. I see we have a caller on hold right now. We're going to just ask you to hold on through our weather, if you don't mind, and we'll take you on the air in a moment. Let's go over to meteorologist Mike Favetta to tell us about the forecast today. So we're looking a little cloudy for the most part in New Jersey.
Little cloudy this morning. We get some breaks of sun this afternoon, but the rain that comes in again later on this evening and another round for Friday starts to bring back our rainfall amounts. So we've still been running dry. All these areas shaded in yellow showing anywhere from a ½ inch to up to a 2-inch rainfall deficit up there in northern New Jersey and again down toward Cape May. So most of these showers have been coming across the central part of the state, whereas most of the southern half of New Jersey currently in a severe drought. I think that improves, especially when you add up all of the rainfall from last week, the new information out tomorrow at this time. We look ahead to a sunny afternoon, mostly cloudy right now, but we'll eventually warm back into the upper 80s later today. It's that dry weather that likely persists, drier than average, with some small spritzes of rain going into the first week of June, but warmer than average weather for most of the northern half of the country, and that includes New Jersey, with that warm, drier feel taking us into the first few days in June. We're looking pretty dry on the 7-day forecast, but there are some opportunities of rain, especially at night, with a cool down overnight into the 50s each overnight, 70s by the afternoon, even down the shore. Very pleasant for the next week with some more rain ahead by the time we get to early next weekend.
All right, Mike, thank you so much, and enjoy your day. 69
You
degrees
too.
in Trenton. Let's go right to our caller right now. Jeff, good morning to you, sir.
Hey, how are you today? Hi, Ken. So I just
I'm
wanted to
good.
follow up on something. Oh, good. Something really important you said is that, oh, everyone needs a rabbi. That's what your friend, said. And obviously, your listeners know what that means, a mentor. Well, I want to say, don't forget to be a rabbi to others. Don't forget to be a mentor to others. Once you get to a certain position, you have a lot of contacts. I come from your business. I'm retired. I have a lot of contacts. It's just really easy um, to be someone's mentor, and sometimes it just takes a phone call. So I'll just say that never forget that one of us could be on the other side of that interview desk. What do you think about that, Ken?
100%. 100%. We used to, when I was back in the channel 7 days, anybody who used to call and say that they were interested in the business or whatever, I would say, get a group of your friends together, come on down, and we'll give you a tour of the place and you could ask away. And literally, I would do 3 tours a week for anybody who was curious. And I can't even tell you, Jeff, how many of the people are working all over the country right now because they got the bug. When you get the bug in the business, it doesn't leave you. There is no cure for broadcasting once you're addicted. That's it. But you're
There
100%
is no
right. Anybody who wants, you help them out. You can't ignore people. You never know and then whom they will help after that, right? They pass it on.
Well, exactly, and I'm retired from the business now, doing something else finally after 38 years. But I still have that bug. I mean, I'm watching you and calling in, and a certain, let's say, a certain co-head of your company is a dear old friend, and she helps others along the way. And I've known her for years.
Yes.
So yeah, and I'm just saying it's just so easy to do, and I have to applaud you for what you did because that's really cool, man.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm having a good time, and believe me, I fed off of the joy and the excitement of the people who came in. But I always appreciate your call, Jeff. We got to run only because we got a sponsored segment right now. But thank you so much for being on, Jeff, and thank you for always calling. We always appreciate you, my friend.
And I appreciate you. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you. And the following is brought to you by our friends at AARP New Jersey. Medicaid and SNAP benefits are critical resources for so many families across New Jersey. But with recent updates and changes, many residents may have questions about what these changes mean for them and what steps they need to take to maintain coverage and benefits. Dr. Stephen Cha is Commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Human Services. We say good morning to you, Dr. Cha.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
Nice to have you on, sir. And there are major changes happening now with Medicaid this year. So explain what those changes are, please.
Sure. So just backing up, about 1.85 million New Jersey residents are enrolled in NJ Family Care, which is our New Jersey version of Medicaid. Now, about 30% of those New Jersey residents, about 540,000, got coverage through the Affordable Care expansion, and that's exciting and fantastic. Those folks, however, will be subject to new eligibility requirements under what we call HR 1, the budget bill that was passed by Congress last year. So this budget bill creates new requirements for all those people, all those 540,000 people. We're worried, and some people have projected that we may lose as many as 330,000 New Jerseyans who could lose NJ Family Care due to these new federal burdens. And we're really concerned about that and trying to work with folks to make sure folks are tracking on that.
And for folks who may not understand what HR 1 was, under the Trump administration, there was some Medicaid fraud in pockets of the country. And unfortunately, because of a few people who were the bad guys, the good people who desperately need Medicaid now may slip through the cracks. And that's what stinks. These people desperately need Medicaid, and they may go to get health coverage in an emergency and find out, oh, you're no longer eligible. So what is it that every few months they have to kind of renew again and kind of reprove that they need to stay on Medicaid?
That's exactly right. And so, just to be clear, a lot of these changes don't start for some time. So we have time. This isn't a tomorrow thing. Most of these changes start to take effect. Certain undocumented immigrant populations start to lose coverage in October of this year. The bigger changes start in January of next year. But we want to be sure that people are understanding what's happening and what we're doing now in partnership to be sure people can tackle some of these challenges. Just as you said,
Gotcha.
we're going to have more federal burdens. They're going to have to prove that they're working, what they call community engagement requirements. And it's going to happen every 6 months. Most people are used to doing this every year. For that
Right.
540,000 who got coverage through the Affordable Care Act, that 30%, you're going to have to do it every 6 months starting in January. So it's good to begin the conversation now about what that's going to mean.
So your team is active right now in helping residents navigate the updates and make sure that people don't accidentally lose coverage, because you don't want to be in a catastrophic accident, find out you're not covered.
That's exactly right. So the governor's budget, which is before the legislature now, invests in systems and partnerships to prevent these unnecessary coverage losses. And I should be clear that those folks who are going to lose coverage, that 330,000 New Jerseyans that I talked about, the vast majority of them are still eligible. They're still eligible for coverage. It's just that they're not going to get through all the paperwork hurdles and burdens that are now put upon them because of that HR 1 bill that was passed. So the governor's budget puts about 10 million more to strengthen the coordination amongst state agencies and counties. And counties are the front door for a lot of these benefits. To invest in some vendors to help us modernize our systems. And it also includes 71 million, because one of the other things the bill did was just remove money from the administrative cost for the SNAP, the nutrition benefits. So the governor's budget puts 71 million to support those county agencies, again, because they are our front door for both nutrition and health benefits to get people access. So we're just trying to focus for the rest of the year to make our systems work better, to take these investments in both county partnerships and our vendors and make this work better for people. We want all eligible residents to stay on the program as much as we can.
Sadly, so many people who are on Medicaid are the very people who are unable to get the mail, read the mail, figure out multiple pages of complex forms, fill them out, get it. Those are the people that need the help the most. And unfortunately, they're the ones we're obviously most concerned about. But what should people do if they get that renewal paperwork or notice in the mail? What's the first thing they need to do?
Yeah, so we're going to be reaching out to contact all of our beneficiaries by fall 2026 of this year with more information. And again, for 70% of our beneficiaries, don't need to do a thing. Don't worry, relax. For those people who got coverage through the ACA, there's a bunch of hoops and hurdles that you have to go through, and we'll be giving you more information if those changes apply to you. But yeah, I got to say, it is hard to track mail, and we understand that's challenging. We'll have customer service lines open. We're already talking to community partners and trying to think about how we can get those messages out, talking to our providers and hospitals. But watch for your letters, emails, text. Make sure your contact information is up to date, and be sure you open and respond to all that mail as soon as possible. We're starting to send some of those alerts out now just to get people prepared, but we do have some months before people really need to take action.
Yeah, for people who don't realize, Medicaid is almost half the budget. And not just this state, but most states around the country. Medicaid is huge because healthcare is so expensive. We kind of started to deal with it in the last couple of decades, and we kind of dropped the ball. And this is still a major problem. Doctor, if people have questions or need help with Medicaid or SNAP, where can they go? What website can they go to, or whom can they contact right now?
Absolutely. You can call the NJ Family Care customer service at 800-701-0710, or go to our website at dhs.nj.gov. So we're here to help support people. We want to make sure that your contact information is up to date, and make sure that both, and we didn't talk about the SNAP, but more than 800,000 New Jersey residents also rely on SNAP, and we're seeing projected benefits losses as well because of that budget bill. So it's both nutrition and the healthcare that we're really trying to figure out how we can move forward here.
Wow. Well, thankfully, you're on top of it and helping so many people out. Dr. Stephen Cha, Commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Human Services. Thank you for this very important information, and thanks for coming on this morning.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.